Hey y'all, and welcome to the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch. I'm Susan, I'm your hostess. We're in my kitchen and we are going to pull a recipe out of the Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving. And I have been given Muscadines from one of my friends, so we are going to look at the grape juice recipe found on page 190 and 191. And the first half of this recipe is going to be using a large stainless steel saucepan, and we're going to crush the grapes. We're going to add just enough water to cover, and we're going to use boiling water for that. We're going to bring it to a medium-high heat, and we're going to stir occasionally, reduce heat, cover, and boil gently for stirring occasionally until the skins are soft, about 30 minutes. Once that step is done, we're going to transfer this to a dampened cheesecloth lined bowl. I'm going to use a colander over a bowl to catch all the juice, and we're going to let it drip undisturbed for 2 hours. And after that, we're going to refrigerate for 24 to 48 hours to allow the sediment to settle. Once those 2 steps are completed, we are going to come back and we will finish out this recipe. Now, I have an old recipe. That is used for when I make muscadine jelly, and it tells me 7 pounds of grapes plus 3 cups of water would equal 10 cups of juice. I have approximately 5 pounds and it's almost 6 pounds of grapes. I'm not sure exactly how much I'm going to get out of this, but we're going to add sugar to it before we can it, and we're going to use it as grape juice on our shelf because I have plenty of muscadine jelly in my pantry already. I have enough probably for 2 to 3 years worth of jelly because my husband and I just do not eat the jelly that often. So we're going to get started here in just a moment. I'm going to show you the grapes, and we will get these things into our stock pot, and we will add some boiling water to them. Alright y'all, I have rinsed and picked through my grapes. These muscadines are beautiful. They are absolutely beautiful little globes, and these look like they might be on the wild version because they're smaller. I have gotten them much larger, and we are going to enjoy these muscadines. My water heating on the back burner. I'm going to go ahead and get these into my stock pot, and we're going to save the colander, and we're going to put a bowl under it with some cheesecloth inside the colander so that we can allow these to drip. I brought you up so that you can see I have a little over a half a pot of these muscadines. And as soon as this water comes to a boil, we're going to go ahead and get this started. And I'm going to get my potato masher out. Now these will not mash or crush until you get that boiling water on them and they start popping open. So this will take just a couple more minutes for the water to heat up. My water is reaching a boiling stage. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off, and we're going to pour this water over these grapes. And I had just enough in my pot to cover my grapes with water. We're going to turn this on, and as soon as they start popping, we will begin to break them up to release the juice. The longer they sit, the darker your juice will be because they'll absorb some of that color from the skin, and they are quite lovely when you juice them. While we're waiting for these to heat up in the pot, Cheesecloth, usually when you find them over by the jars, are in little bitty packages and they're extremely expensive. I go in Walmart and I go to the sewing department and I buy this. And this has 36 inches of 6 yards. And then I will cut at least 4 pieces the same length. And this is about, I'd say, between 18 and 20 inches. Okay, I have layered my muslin into my pan, and I have just placed one layer and just gone around my bowl until everything is in place. And this is a colander inside a bowl, and this will be ready for when I get ready to squeeze the muscadines. You want to keep moving your muscadines around because you do not want them to burn. And I'm starting to see the muscadines are coming out of the skin. There's one that just popped out of its skin. There's another one. And I had one fall on the floor. It said it's too hot in the pot. It jumped out. So we're going to let this continue to cook. I've got it on high on my stove. Basically just to get these skins to start busting open, because I want them to bust open so we can start releasing the juice. And I'm going to put a lid on this for just a moment, just to get it heated up good. Try to get these to go on and bust open. Okay, they are starting to burst open. And I'm starting to smell the grape juice. See, we've got a few more that's busted open here. Starting to see a few seeds floating in here. So we're getting closer to the time we can start mashing these. And I kept the lid on for about 2 to 3 minutes just to get this get a good start on this. You will actually hear them bursting. And I'm just going to mash around, start breaking these up. You have to be careful. You'll get a nice facial because this is very hot. Okay, I've got the majority of them mashed. I'm going to lower my heat. Okay, I have lowered my heat. I want it to about a low boil. And I'm going to put my lid on And I'm going to stir this occasionally for 30 minutes. I'm going to set my timer for 30 minutes. I'm going to keep an eye on it because it can boil over if you're not watching it closely. Okay, the ones that aren't busted will usually float to the top. And you can just take your spoon and press them against the side to kind of break them up. I'm going to continue to stir this occasionally, and I think I've got just about all of them broken up at this point. We've got a good mash going. You can see all the seed. You can see all the seeds that's come out. And it's smelling like grape juice in here, y'all. I'm going to cover this back up and let it continue to cook down. My timer's gone off, and I'm going to get these ready to take out of the pot. And from the looks of my lid, you can tell that I had a little bit of a boil over. But we're going to give this another stir, and I'm just going to go through and just kind of mash against the side again. And then I'll turn my burner off. And you can see they have cooked down quite a bit. Pardon me scraping on the pan, but I want to get the last little bit out of here. Okay, we have it in here, and you can see we have a nice mash going on. And it is dripping juice. So we're going to let this sit for at least 2 hours or longer if needed. And I always cover it because I don't want insects messing with my stuff. So if there's any gnats or flies flying around in here, they won't get at the mash. My secondary precaution is to put a clean dish towel just across the top so that nothing gets into the bowl. We're just going to let that sit for 2 hours. Okay, y'all. In order to get the rest of this juice out, I'm going to smash this along the sides, and we're going to try to get as much juice out of this mash as we possibly can. And I'm going to start pulling this up. And it's still warm. It's been a couple of hours. And it is still very hot. Go ahead and turn off my timer there. And I'm just going to press. This is why it's important to do it in a colander or a sieve so you can catch any seeds that might fall out. And I actually should have cut my muslin just a little bit bigger because I do have so much mash in here. And I'm going to open this back up because this muslin's really not doing the trick for me. And I'm holding my colander up because I'm trying to get all this juice to release. I want to get as much juice out of this as possible. And I think I've got all I'm going to get. Pull this out of my bowl, and I am just picking this up and squeezing, and I don't even care if it falls back in the bowl at this point because all that mash is going to go out to the birds. We're going to go ahead and get rid of this muslin. I want you to see how much juice is coming out of that. See all that juice on the plate? I'm just going to do this with my hands. And we're going to try to get a little bit more juice out of this. And that stuff is still very hot, y'all. And I think we are pretty much done. Yeah, we're done. There's not much juice left. So this is the mash. This is going to go to our chickens. And there's all kinds of good stuff in there for them. So they're going to get that. They'll eat all those seeds up. Maybe we'll get some wild muscadines growing in a yard somewhere. Who knows? But I doubt it after the seeds have been boiled. I'm going to move this out of the way. And we're going to get us a bottle over here. Keep all of this. Clean up my mess. You can see me from there. According to my bowl, we have almost 4 quarts. So a half-gallon jug. And I think my measurement on that board that bowl may be off. And let's see how much juice we have left in here. Okay, so we know a half gallon is 2 quarts. And I have 2 quarts and 1.5 cups of juice. So we're going to call that a day. We're going to get this can tomorrow, and you can see it has a lovely color to it. I haven't even added the sugar to it yet. And we'll see how much we get out of it tomorrow when we go to can it. Step is to decant the juice, and we're not to disturb the sediment that might be on the bottom. But since mine are in jars, I'm going to just pour it through some cheesecloth. And this is to catch any of the crystals. What does it say in the book? It says to eliminate the tartaric acid crystals that are formed during the juice storage. And I'll show you what that looks like here in just a minute. And there it is, y'all. That's what would cause this juice to become a little on the bitter side, I do believe. And we're going to discard this. And I'm just going to taste the liquid. And that's pretty good. Okay, it's still a little on the tart side, but that's okay because grape juice is usually a little tart, a little sweet. I'm not going to, at this point, not going to add any more sugar to this, but I am going to bring this up to temperature. It says over medium high heat. You do not want to bring it to a boil. Continue to watch this until it reaches that temperature. Okay, I found my candy thermometer, but I still don't think it's long enough. Okay, it just barely touches the liquid, which is good. And we want to bring this up to 190 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll watch the temperature on this and keep stirring it because it does contain sugar. I have my jars sterilizing, and I'm going to set the timer on them. My lids are already hot and ready to go, so we are just waiting on the juice basically in this to get up to temperature. Okay, we've reached 190 degrees, and we're going to maintain this for 5 minutes, and then we're going to jar this up. You will have a hot canner, hot jars, and hot liquid. Ladle hot juice into the jars to 1/4 inch headspace. I'm using the boiling water that was in the canner to top off my jars. I'm going to get it up to 1/4 inch headspace. Adjust your headspace If needed, wipe the rims with vinegar. Apply the lids. Now we are adding our bands, and we're going to get them finger tight and put them into our hot water bath canner. We're going to process these for 15 minutes. Once they start steaming, then we're going to allow them to cool 5 minutes with the lid off before removing them from our canner. Well, my timer is done. These have been sitting for 5 minutes. The water has calmed down in there and it will be easier to lift out. Plus, it'll be less likely the jars will siphon. But we have grape juice, y'all. That's the only wide mouth I used. I'm trying to save my wide mouths because I've got a big canning session coming up of cleaning out one of our freezers that is full of deer meat. And it's going to be quite an adventure for me. And I need all the wide mouths I can get my hands on in order to do that. But we have 5 lovely pints of grape juice preserved to go in our pantry. And I'm excited about that. And my friend called me and told me that she's probably going to be sending me more Muscadines and Scuppernong grapes, and the Scuppernongs are the white version of the Muscadine. So we're going to look right here, and there is our 5 pints, and they will start pinging here in a moment and sealing, and we will let these sit on the counter overnight. I'll remove the bands in the morning, wash my jars, get them labeled, and put into the pantry. Thank you for watching, everyone.